Hello guys, welcome back. In this class we are going to talk about models. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm gonna show you the official part of the Django documentation related to models. So as it says, a model is a single definitive source of information about your data. It contains the essential fields and behavior that your data you are storing. So basically the models, it's one class that you will define to describe how your business models should look like. So every information that you want to store into the database first should be described as a model. So you have the class to define a class in Python, and your class name you will always inherit from models.model, and then you will describe your fields. Okay, one model can have not just fields but as well methods. We are going to create our own methods soon. So uh, regarding to the fields, if you go here in fields, we can check to the field types. We can have multiple field types in Django. So you can have text field, char fields, you can have date fields. We can have as well like numbers, decimal, relationship fields as well. Let me check where else we can have. We can have specific field types for example, for URLs, for email, and Django will handle it for you. So let me check here. For example, this small field. No, it's not described here. Decimal. Let me Google it a little bit, real quick. Django decimal field. For example, if you want a decimal field, you can Google it. The first thing, I'm pretty sure that will be a Django reference documentation. So, for example, here you can set if this field can be blank or not. You can set the choices for one specific char field. Here is the full list. For example, you can have auth field, big auth field, char field, date, time, email field, floating image field as well that I forgot to mention. So you can have a image or a document field, so it will enables the user to upload one doc file. So text field, time field, URL, and so on and so forth. Okay guys, so this link will describe all of them, and as well the options that you can have. We're going to create our own fields, and then I will show you as well how to use null and blank and choices, and and as well relationship fields. For example, you can have one client that one, for example, the class customer. This class customer can have a reference for address or for cell phone, so you will have databases keys, so databases keys for another register. You can have multiple fields like man-to-man fields or one-to-one field, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's get it started. Let's practice a little bit. So let's go to our PyCharm. Here in the previous classes we start defining one class. So let's do another one. So let's say that this client has a for example, let's describe more fields here. So for example, it can has an email. So Django has the models.email field. Okay, you can decide if this field will be required or not. So you can define null equals true and blank equals true. Okay, so it will accept null values, so the database will set and null for the clients that you have already stored, and as well it will not be required because it will accept blank as a value to be stored in this field. Okay, so what else we can have here? Like we can have the profile photo. So for example, photo, you will write from models dot image field. Okay, so let's make it optional as well. So null true and blank true. Date birth. So you can have models dot date field, In this case, let's do it. Let's make it optional as well. So null and blank true. I think that's it. So as you remember in the last classes, every time you create new fields, you should to make migrations and migrate to make these changes to reflect into your database. So I will do Ctrl C here. I'm going to handle that error soon. Let's do the migrations first. So make migrations. So it will read the whole thing and then we'll try to create the migration. In this case, it's saying that cannot use image field because Pylo is not defined. So Pylo is one Python library to handle images. So to have this field here, we need to install Pylo. So let's do pip install Pylo. Okay, so the pip tool will collect Pylo library, will unpack that, and will install it inside your virtual environment. Okay, so it will do everything that you need to do. While it is executing, you can have as well method to get the information from your model. Let's say that you have an extra field called last name. Okay, so you can have here like models dot char field with max length 72. Okay, let's say that you want a method to get the full name, so you can define one method inside your class. To define a method, you type def. This is a default key for defining functions in Python, and then you place your function name like get full name. Okay, so here you can just return self.name, and then you will combine it with this extra space and self.last name. Okay, so that's it. In this way, we're gonna have a property inside this client class that will provide you to call this function, and it will give you back the full name of the user. We're gonna see that working soon, don't worry. So once the Pylo is installed, now we can do make migration. It's gonna work. Okay, what is it? It is saying here that we are creating a no nullable field called last name. Once we have clients already in our database, Django needs to know what to do with the pre-existing clients and this new field, what it should do once it cannot be null because we didn't allow it to be null. So we can set a default value. So you can click option 1, you can type 1, and then we'll provide one default value to that. So if you put quotes like empty double quotes or empty single quotes and type enter, Django automatically will feed the pre-existing registers into the database with empty values. Okay, with not an empty value but one single space. Okay, so it's the migration is generated. Now we are able to migrate. Let's do migrate. Okay, now we have the file migrated into our database. Okay, so if we do run server now, here we go. We can go to Django Admin and check it out. Let's go to clients and let's add an extra client. So client test, surname, age, salary, email. You can see that email, photo, and date of birth is not bold because it is not a required field. So here we can click and choose a file and say what's the date of birth date. So when you click save, here we go. Here we can see that the client object is stored into the database, but as we can see here in this grid is showing client object, not the client name. So that's why we're going to use our get full name method. Every new object that Django Admin shows here, it will call by default one method called str. This str is a default method from one model that will you will say what you want to show about this model, what information you want to show. So I will do return self dot get full name. So once Django runs and see one new object instance, it will call automatically str, and inside this we're going to return the full name of this user. Okay, so when we update here, we can see client tester name. So if we change that and put Mary, I don't know, Silva, and click save, here we can see Mary Silva. Okay, so that's a way to handle this kind of thing in Django Admin and Django models. So here guys, in this class we learned we get a little bit more deep what is a model, how to define a model, what is attributes, and what type of attributes that we could use, and as well what configurations we can place for all of them to make them null or blank, and set the decimals for digits and decimal place, max length. As well, we learn how to define methods and how to call the methods, how to fix this issue on Django Admin to show one specific information into the grid. Okay, so I hope you like it, guys. So in this following this schema, we went through a little bit about views. We're still gonna have a look at a little bit deeper on views, but as well now we are covering the models. Okay, that's doing the access to the database. And next classes we're going to have a look in more details about views, about templating, and until we get to this point, the point where the view places a template inside the response and give it back to the browser. Okay, so I hope you enjoy it, guys, and I will see you next class. Okay, bye bye.